Hello, one. Hello, all. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the BKI Breakdown series with Nick Leival and Nick Slowiak, featuring the EPL Event 1 Garden State Open. Nick Leival, how are you doing this morning?
EPL. I'm well this morning. This looks like a frustrating layout. Frustrating.
You know what? I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Yep. Well, this layout to me says like the really only consistent way to win games is going to be down the snake. I would assume to close games. We've got a lot of big back bunkers that are going to be, rather safe to make it to off the break with those big bunkers in the center, this perfect view that you just showed. We have a lot of pretty safe bunkers to make it to, even that big break on the left there. The only real shootable bunker is going to be that snake Dorito off the break in the back line there. And that being said, I could see a lot of people making it out to the Dorito corner, as that can that you're just showing is going to need to either be doubled or pick shooting the Dorito low cut or the snake Dorito cut. So I can see a lot of teams doubling this off the break to shoot those wides, sitting two in the pocket there. And yeah, I think there's just a lot of spots on the field that can slow down that Dorito side. There being a big gap between the 50 Doritos. And so the only consistent side I'm really seeing to finish games is I think you're going to need a guy on the snake side to consistently finish games.
I like that. And one thing I want to point out to everybody, I hope that when you're listening, you're kind of trying to digest what Nick is saying, just based off of looking at essentially this view that we had up in the beginning, where he could clearly see right away that it's going to be tough to make it out over here, and in doubling this can, as he was saying, or moving up to it on the break, you could choose to put two guns one way or split the guns. But just quick observations. So just hopefully that all you guys back at home, the wheels are turning in your head, and then you also make use of this Guns Up application, gunsup.com, to come here and walk the field.
Yeah, this guy's gonna have to bring some paint.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing when I saw like the snake is going to be like the huge side to go, because it goes the whole length of the field and it's the farthest thing out on the tape. And quickly glancing at the grid lines, we could tell right away that this corner can't do anything to stop the snake. I don't know what I'm not going to say there's not a point to getting out here, but like when I look and see this in front of me on this website, like online, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to see this in real life. So I might as well just get my big bearded butt in the snake and do something. But I think I kind of agree that the snake side is going to be the side because of how far out it is and because you can crawl all the way down and not be stopped. But I also think this is just a shooter's paradise in here, because if you could, stack three guys in here and really get your lanes down, we can see right away the faster you get up to this can, the better the lanes open up on the outsides of those inset bunkers, which will allow you to shoot anyone trying to make it, in this case on the snake side, to that snake Dorito or the corner, because there's a lane on the outside of it. Or going into the snake on the break. And then on this Dorito side, it opens up huge to the can in the corner, that outside that Dorito one, and anyone trying to make a big run. So, that is so big for things, not only just to shoot people on the break, but then to just have your eyes up on people that do make it and communicate that to your team, and then reacting accordingly from there.
I think like this is one of those fields that I would almost alternate my regular snake guy and my regular Dorito guy to different sides. And the reason for that being is because I think that the Dorito side is going to be a little bit easier to push once you get wide. You're going to be at least able to get up into the 50, and then it's probably going to slow way down from there. Ideally, you'd want your player playing a little bit more slowly once they get to that second outside wing. Just because it's going to be tough to get past that if there's one or two bodies alive still in the back line for the opposing team. Yeah, this exact view right here, I think that this is about where this guy's stop should be in terms of allowing his team to catch up. And if they don't catch up, obviously he's going to have to try to finish out the game on this side. But ideally, getting to this spot and then letting your team make it out into those hard gaps of the snake after you've turned some guns this way. Applying constant pressure on the side, basically waiting to get to the other team's side of the field is really where your kills are going to come from. But just being here alive is going to draw so many guns that it's going to allow your team to fill out after you. So I would probably take my generally more aggressive guy and put them on this side of the field, and then ask them to, once they get here, soak up some guns and then hold up there for a second.
Yeah, I like that. And it's one of those things too. Everyone needs to realize that because these mini walls are on the outside of the tape, it's going to make it extremely difficult to play these things tight and avoid getting shot cross field, especially as Nick just said, which I think is perfect. Once you go past the 50 to your opponent's side, it really makes it really hard to live here, especially with how that snake one wedge is, even that Dorito insert in the corner. And I would guarantee you there's probably a bounce shot off that pin.
Yeah.
You're
going to say that, yeah.
Into you. I saw that as you were talking. I was like, God, this
guy's dead.
Yeah, whether it's coming from the corner, I don't know that wedge could see it, but off of this pin right here and into you, into this spot. Definitely going to be something to test. Practice the layout, but it's one of those things that right away highlight a spot that you see as being a key position in getting there, especially in practice, and just letting, just as Nick said, letting your team catch up, communicating, drawing the guns, and seeing how the point develops, and points develop, because you should run it several times, multiple times, 5 times, if not more, and just get the sense of the pace.
That spot over there, it like just being happy with getting up to that brick is going to mean the world to your team, to not try to overextend on the side, and all that forward progress that you achieved go all for naught if you die trying to go to the next one. Just being in this brick is going to be a huge relief valve for your team, because as you could see on the snake side, the lanes going into the snake side from the center are going to be really treacherous early in the game, off the break. Even midway through the game, there's going to be someone pumping that snake side pretty much all game. And if you don't take it off the break, because people have been getting shot off the break, then you're going to have to work your way out to that side. So I really see the most value in this side causing guns to switch, specifically that center can, to try to stop you from going into the next one. And that's going to relieve the infield of your snake side. And this is going to be the opportunity for your snake players. Yeah, this exact view. Once that can hears that you're in that 40 brick on the D side, 90% of people are going to turn and look this way. It's going to be one of the best shots to hold you from getting to the other side and control you, or at least just check you off to see how far you got. This guy most definitely is going to at least peek over to this side. And so when that happens, that's going to alleviate that snake side view that Nick's showing you right now, to keep your players inset in the field. Once this guy switches, that's going to be the opportunity for your either 1 on the snake side or 2 on the snake side to finally get out into that Dorito and then into the snake. And I really think that that's where games are going to need to be closed from, is on the snake side.
Let's head over there, man.
Head over there.
Let's check it out. So first bunker over here, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Is this tower. Look at the zone here. You're going to be able to see start box to start box. Oof.
Love it.
I love this. You can see right away. You're definitely going to have a cross shot on your opponent's tower, but you lose really anything else wider than that, unless, of course, you really want to come here and shoot in front of the Dorito 1, I believe.
It's the Dorito 2.
Is that Dorito 2?
Yeah, so not a
no, it's yeah, you're right. It's Dorito 2. There's that little Dorito behind it. So yeah, not something you probably want to be committed to, although I could see you staying cross to try and shoot anyone coming up to that tall wedge, standing up, that stand-up wedge. We'll look heads up here. Can you see your mirror?
There's probably going to be someone here 90% of the time, I would guess.
I would even, the shots are so good within this little triangle, this Bermuda triangle of death in
Yeah.
the back, that I mean, you could have two guys coming out here, one going up tight and one guy just coming out deep just to get your gun up to shoot commit. I would say the guy going up quick and fast is going to shoot low for the snake or the high for the corner. And I would shoot low here.
Mhm.
I would shoot here and I'd have my other guy shoot here. So someone comes in here quick, low, and shoots this cut through here, and then you come deep and you're shooting right through here, and then you'd have your center can guy shooting in front of the Dorito. But it just depending on how the guns are, it might make it really, really hard to get down that snake. And we'll see when we get to the Dorito side if it's the same. But looks like you could probably sit here. I mean, this is just a clutch spot.
Yeah, that's the 3 gap of death right there. That's going to be make or break of every single breakout, is I think how those 3 gaps are dealt with. You know, whether you shoot someone, whether you decide to go short, whether you have someone even in position to then fill the snake. That I think that's going to be the biggest decider of breakouts, is how people are going to deal with those 3 gaps there.
Yeah, and this is you playing the spot. I mean, you're controlling that, so you're really going to have to value your life here and not over gunfight, and just know that almost every single one of these spots, save for sept maybe someone in that corner, you're going to be able to roll off and just shoot the gap in front of those zones and just contain, and then use that to communicate. It does look like there's a chance of a bounce shot off of the Dorito into you. So if someone does make that snake Dorito, snake insert, they could probably play the inside and put a bounce shot on you. Granted, if there's someone in this can, there's no way they're playing the inside, but you know, it wouldn't be hard, probably too hard for that good Dorito player.
Looks like they can shoot it on the outside.
It does, right? But I think you can. I don't know. It'll be tough. I mean, let's just jump into this thing. Look at this. Look! Oh my gosh! Look at all these shots. This is an insane layout. Oh man! I mean, on the tape, yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely shoot that bounce shot.
Mm-hmm.
So from this bunker to your mirror, off the inside of your mirror, you could definitely shoot that that tower. Boom, boom.
Get him out on his face.
Which is I think for this layout, it's kind of a good thing. I think without that little extra advantage here, this thing would be a nightmare to get out of.
Yeah, it incentivizes you again. Hopefully, like the bounce shot working really well to get to this spot. And playing here. And again, in coming here, you have quite a few shots infield. You're going to have to really watch. And I haven't had a chance yet to play the new wedges, but in watching the webcast, they look definitely tiny. So you're definitely going to have to pay attention to the Dorito 1 and Dorito 2 shooting crossfield at you in here, and just be mindful of where they're at.
But also, like, now looking at this too, that brick on the D side, someone can pretty much easily make it there off the break. And if that brick wants to shoot this cut towards the god in the snake corner the entire game, that might be the best bunker to keep people from getting in here, because there's no way to check that player off.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I looked at that a little bit and I was like, oh, yeah. This might change things. But one quick thing to look at, like a perspective here, is that you could see this pole. Every field's going to have points of reference on the outside of it. So it could be something to note that if you do get here, oh, that's not what I wanted. You see something like this, you would just know that this is your shot to shoot at the Dorito 1. And obviously you can drop paint over here to shoot Dorito 2. Might be kind of hard because you're going to be lower in this spot because of the tower on the D side and that brick, but just something to take note of. So yeah, bounce shot off your mirror into the tower. Don't have to really worry about the corner. You will be able to tell if they're shooting this way because the paint coming in, and you're just going to want to go low because any paint they do shoot at you will be coming over this Aztec in front of you. We kind of looked at the corner already a little bit. You can shoot mirror to mirror, so that's kind of comforting. But all that player has to do, or you would have to do, is take a couple steps out, and you're essentially behind the longest snake I've seen in a long time. The biggest snake I've seen in a long time. But wrapping this spot isn't bad. You do a good thing to look at this is if you do eliminate the corner player or that Dorito player, and you know that there's no one past the tower, you can just come here and wrap this thing, and your shot's going to be on the outside of their snake tower, just to contain.
Yeah, I think that this corner is going to be a very common breakout to make it wide on the snake side and just, skip that Dorito to get a player out wide. I think this is probably going to be your safest bet to come out here and then get into the snake afterward instead of running straight to the snake, because I think the snake's a little bit easier to shoot. So this will probably be the spot that in practice you want to make sure that you have a good shot on off the break, because I can see teams taking this spot a lot in comparison to the snake.
Yeah, and or just saying the best route to the snake is to go essentially around the corner off the break. And you got a lot of room back here to go deep up and around, and I would say it's going to be really hard to shoot anyone coming deep out here.
Yeah,
really hard.
Definitely.
So that's going to be like Nick just said. You want to dial in your lanes on this zone back here. Figure out the height you're going to have to put the paint in on, and just try and read your opponent on the box. Well, like they're going to be lined up like they're sprinting no matter what, I guess, or maybe running and shooting out here.
Yeah.
So we'll get into this behemoth of a snake, and the first snake one knuckle is a wedge. It's hard to tell, but yeah, you can see. I was curious about this. You can see the inside of that Dorito brick and the corner, so that's really big. If you get here and you know that player is looking cross. To be able to kind of come in here, I think, and sneak a shot on that, but you're going to have to watch your loader from the snake tower. You can't see.
There's so much room behind this area back here that if you have a player that can play over the top, you can pretty much shoot every single bunker on the field from this area, whether it's the shot inside that Nick was showing you, whether it's over the top, whether it's wrapping this thing, whether it's stepping out and shooting down the wire towards the snake one. Pretty much every bunker is shootable from this area back here. And so, having someone in here late game is going to be a huge advantage in comparison to the other side. So like if both teams turn the field and one side gets blown out on each side, I would rather have the snake side over the Dorito side on this field for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this is almost like the Alamo. You're taller, it should be really easy for you to defend yourself. That being said, Nick and I are both really tall and available. So after this, give us a call. Fly on out and play this. Yeah, I mean, I really like this spot. And then we'll just say that's the cool thing too, is realize you can wrap this and pretty much be safe from the tape, and you've got your shot in on the Dorito, the tower, blind shooting over the top of that cake into the can, which, if I'm not mistaken, if they're using this, I'm cutting over here really quick. If they're using this tall cake, that means they're using bunker. This doesn't exist anymore in the NXL. This bunker was removed, right? Or no? Am I wrong? Did they replace these?
It's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought they did. I don't know. Maybe I'm not getting enough sleep. I don't know. But we'll move into the snake 2. Uh-oh. I might have lost Nick. He's frozen on my screen. See if he comes back. There he is. Now you're moving.
I can still hear you.
Okay. I was like, you're like frozen with your hand over your face. I was like, oh no.
I was saying that we're both on the same page, because I don't remember if we still have that or not.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Okay, I like it.
Just because. But we're in the snake 2.
So from this snake 2, there isn't a ton of gimme shots from this snake. Most of the bunkers cross field are blocked out. And so knowing your shots on the field, this is not going to be a great spot to stop and shoot inside. The main objective, I think, from this snake 2 is really going to be the only shot on the field down the wire of the snake. It's the only bunker on the field that can stop the other team, snake 2, from coming around or engage with the snake 3 and snake 4 bunkers. So I would guess that if you're coming here, you're only doing one of two things. You are either working your way down the snake, you're going to pass this bunker and crawl to the other team's side or to the 50, or you're going to come here and engage down the wire and try to stop the other team from doing just that. So knowing your shots on this field, this snake 2 definitely isn't going to be something that you want to be spending a lot of time inside on. It's going to be outside, wrapping, or using it as a launch point to crawl down the field.
Absolutely. And we'll move into the snake 3, the new juice box bunker, which this has your give me shots, possibly.
Yeah.
I'd say only if that corner, if you saw or knew that that corner was hot and was exposed, I imagine it'd be really hard for him to, we'll go to the Dorito side, but really hard for that player to live if he's taking any pressure down the tape. The scary thing here is that that brick could pop up again if that player's taller over almost any part of it, shoot down at you. And then once they have that advantage, just sit and hold this spot and then let the rest of the team know to shoot you. And you're going to have to really be careful of how you play this crossbody.
It sort of looks like that brick can shoot the snake 2 to snake 3 crawl because of that brick, because of the snake 2 being so outset that if you were to turn this corner, it looks like someone standing in the brick could keep this player from crawling around.
Yeah, or even that tower.
Is a great it's a great plan B if you've lost your snake side, because now that we know that that brick can keep someone out of the snake side Dorito and keep this player from turning the corner, crawling around, it could definitely add a lot more time to finishing a game out if you happen to have lost the snake side or your player is having trouble getting out. So I could see a safe play being a team putting a player in that brick to control the 1 on the snake side of the opposing team and first shoot them towards the gap in the snake Dorito, and then secondary trying to hold them from crawling around the snake 2. So that brick actually has a lot of good shots on the snake side over here.
He has a lot of great shots.
Yeah.
There's even a shot through here.
Yep. And then the one before that as well.
Oh yeah, right here.
So I could see, you know, putting your back center player, typically your heavy gunner, after they shoot from the center can off the break, secondarying into this spot to then shoot all those spots on the snake side and really slow down the opposing team's snake side.
Absolutely. But we'll move past the snake 3. Now we're going to crawl. There is no 50. So you're going to crawl into your opponent's side of the field, which looks like that's really going to prevent you from getting shot from that brick now, and will allow you to come up and get what could be some really clutch shots. We talked about this right away, looking at that second mini wall on the Dorito side. As the
that guy dead to rights.
Yeah.
Like earlier we were talking about how hard it's going to be to get past that Dorito. So as a snake player, coming to this spot and looking for that player first, that's probably going to be your first gimme kill out of the snake.
Yeah, agreed. And then from here, looking across to see that player, there's should be no doubt in your mind if there's someone in that center structure, the first mini wall or the Dorito 2. And then again, from there, from here, you're going to really just have to be careful how you come up cross-bodied or set up with your gun in case there is a center can and a Dorito tower. Switching to the tape. Move into your opponent's snake 2. Brick is completely blocked out. Now you really have the backs of the can, the tower, the tall cake. And the tall cake was not a bunker in the layout for Florida, the Sunshine Open. So I'm pretty sure that bunker is not being used in the NXL. That's not to say it can't be used in any regional events.
Yeah. I like those bunkers. I mean, I'm kind of glad they're gone because they're basically, you know, bounce shot central bunkers, but you know, that is part of the game. And it's not like there isn't a whole bunch of other ones that do the same thing. So
that is the fact, Jack. So coming here again, crossfield shots on the Dorito 3, the first mini wall, which could be, I guess you could call that the Dorito 3, and then Dorito 4 would be the second big Dorito. And then I think the biggest thing you're going to want to check off on here would just be the guy in front of you. I would probably prefer to crawl in here and clear out my tape because of how
100%.
dominant this snake is. And then I'll, if I die, I trade out. Hopefully my team's behind me. And that opens up the snake side, but it shouldn't be too hard to come to this thing, check off on the tape, and then move immediately into the snake one of your opponent.
Yeah, I would ideally, if I had a fast crawling guy, I would recommend him to go all the way to this shot first. Go clear out the snake in front of you first, and then get most of your kills from the opposing team snake one, that big wedge. Get your kills from wrapping this big wedge, because rarely do you have a snake that you can crawl all the way down like this and clear your own wire. But this one allows you, because of the angle of this wedge, allows you to shoot right into this spot. And basically, if you kill that guy, you have everybody else on the field. So, go for the big bucks and go kill that guy first, and then take everyone else out from their side of the field.
Yep. Copy your call, how to hang up. Yeah, I mean, thinking about this kind of reminds me of a Huntington Beach layout for 7-man. This snake.
Definitely this snake. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Maybe a few different ones, but I think I don't know.
The standing in the snake.
Yeah. So let's move. We want to move up to the center. Want to see if this thing's got any value here.
Absolutely.
So tall cake present on this layout, but not the NXLs.
It's not a bad stop off point, but I definitely would not want to spend a ton of time here.
I don't see, maybe possibly if you're leaving this can, like, someone got shot, because I do think this can could suck.
Can you stay in that view for a second?
Right here?
Yeah. Look at can to can, from cake to cake.
Can to can. So right here.
Yeah. So we were talking about those
bounce shots,
stand-up cakes being huge bounce shots. Yeah. And someone probably being in this can almost every game. If you have the ability to control the player on the snake side and get some shots in on that cake, I'm sure that you're going to be putting some shots in on the opposing team's can, freeing up your snake player just that much more if you can get this player to flinch or give up their lane. Yeah,
and that's what I didn't quite catch the bounce shot right away. My first thought was coming up here, you get the elimination on the Dorito, or you don't get the elimination on the Dorito, and it makes sense now with that. If there is a bounce shot, and coming up here, you do lose the shot on the Dorito, but I would rather just come here right away and wrap on that can.
Yeah,
it kind of stinks because all you're going to be able to do is sit here and play heads up. You won't. It's going to be tough to tell if the player makes it to the corner. There might be a small gap depending on the layout. You will definitely see the guy fill the snake through that cut, but once they do that, what do you do now?
You better get out of there.
Yeah, and I don't know if the move is infield. I don't think there's any value in running to this thing way over here. This looks more like just a lane blocker or a closing position.
You're pretty much forced to go up the middle if you've taken this cake. Regardless of what happens, you're pretty much forced to go up to that small wedge and the large wedge, which I think are both pretty playable and good spots. Like this, good luck getting out on the snake side with a player in here. And then not only that, is it's going to be, you're far enough away that you're not close enough to get bunkered out. So, having an alternate game plan of sending a player up here, especially if the bounce shots into the center are really brutal, getting a player up here to control the snake side, this player could keep someone out of the snake indefinitely if they're a decent gunfighter.
Yeah, I do think you probably do have a bless you, maybe.
Sorry, it was a cough.
Oh, okay. Definitely, it did. I didn't see it. I was like looking at the film. What just happened? Definitely going to be a tough spot to battle out of, though. If you have to battle someone from the corner, how about, and look at this too. This is an excellent drill opportunity. Put someone in the corner and put a body here, or rotate your entire team through it, and just get used to battling out of a spot like this or playing each other. To see how realistic it can be, because if that corner player can put you in and we know from looking at the corner already, it's super easy to step out to the tape and get into the snake. It might be really tough for you to try and contain that guy, wrapping or playing the inside.
That's why, I mean, I think standing, if you're gonna come here, you may as well go to the wedge to your left. Your shots are a little bit more limited in what you can gunfight, but your angles are so much larger into where you can hold. Like you could shoot that snake one from here and not even deal with the corner at all and make him have to run through your paint. This spot, if your goal is to control the snake side, might be a little bit more effective, or bouncing between the two, depending on if the player is in the Dorito on the snake side, being in the mini wedge, but if they get to the corner, then maybe coming to this big wedge to hold them out of the snake. I think either one would be a decent move as long as you're doing your primary job of holding that player out of the snake. But I mean, this wedge has some really good angles on keeping players out of the snake.
Probably the best.
Probably the best.
Short of us looking at that brick cross field, but you're on your feet. You're closer, and you could, like, I think the key here, like you said, is just if someone gets to that corner and you're here, or even the Dorito, you just sit here and you shoot this, and there's no way they can shoot you, pending any crazy bounce shot off the wedge, which there could very well be.
I'd probably try to ride that out. That looks like it would be not at a great angle to get a bounce shot in here.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I'm just, saying it to say it, folks. You get shot by a bounce shot, we warned you.
You've been warned.
Okay, don't blame us. But yeah, just so dominant to hold those two spots and that cut into the snake. Also, a thing to note, that if they do get into the snake, you're going to have to go low, because once they get into the snake, 3 are yours. Your back's kind of cut. And if we look over here to the Dorito side, since we're up here, great spot to really lock down this D side.
Absolutely.
Corner. You can't see the Dorito 1, that small Dorito behind Dorito 2, but you can shoot
That's
the
good
cut.
if you can't see you either. Go ahead through that gap, little rabbit.
Tricks are for kids.
But I would recommend, that center player, if they do allow someone into the snake, I think that is your opportunity to then try to find some other kills. This would be a great time to wrap the inside of this bunker, looking for the center players first. Most likely those players are shooting towards the snake or have vacated those areas already, wrapping around to the D side, trying to find some further up players on the Dorito side, because the inside of the brick is blocked out. Most likely those players won't be over the top too often, but taking this move into the other team's side is going to be there a lot. So being able to put in the Dorito guy, or even shoot the Dorito guy, and then taking their big wedge, and then going even further and getting into their big brick, switching hands, looking back towards the center and the snake side. This could be a great opportunity for you to change a game around. For example, if you lost your snake player off the break and you were in that wedge and the other team got into the snake, and you took this move and took out 2 players, or maybe even 3 players out of the center, that might be the huge swing that your team needs. So center players should definitely get used to these shots coming through the center of the field, taking the other team's brick and their other team's wedge. There's going to be a lot of opportunity. Oh, that's perfect, Nick. There's going to be a lot of opportunity to take that move. I think in 5-on-5 games, even 4-on-4 games. So this could be a huge swing if you lost that player in the snake, or you needed to run a quick point, or even if you needed to, even if you just wanted to have a fun one. I think this would be a real fun route to have your center player get a lot of kills through the center.
No, I agree. It's good to kind of look at that and draw up that roadmap of the route you'd want to take. If the focus is on the snake, I'd say, I guess running up here, you'd probably run up shooting Dorito way, because then at least this way, I don't know.
I think you could do either one. I don't think you'd be wrong either way, depending on the rest of your guns. But let's just say from here, once you get here, in the multitude of ways that you could get here and shoot, from here, what your route would be as a center player, what you're looking for.
I think you said it perfectly. Like, instead of exposing yourself to the Dorito side, because I mean, the chances are they're going to know you're there. You wrap this and look to catch those guys trying to play you on the inside, and then you make that move up, and then you just have to reassess from here. It's knowing it's two things, like I think you said. If they make the snake, because if they get through your gun over here, then you're going to want to look to make something happen. I wouldn't say we're both telling you guys that you need to make this move to that your opponent's wedge, stand-up wedge, and then look to get to their brick. But it's just knowing if, like, cause and effect, if this, then that, and what your role or job is. And obviously a bunch of other variables play into this, but because my thought too, on the flip side of this is, for snake players, knowing that if you did do all that work, you put this guy in somehow and you made it clean into the snake, what would your first reaction be if this guy's here? Would it be to come to the inside of that wedge and shoot this guy? Or, obviously, we don't know if there's anyone in the snake with you, or if there's a corner, or, would it be to crawl down the snake? So you're going to, have to answer that yourself. My thought would be, is if I saw that this guy was here and I made it to that wedge, I would immediately try to play this guy over the top and hopefully pinch him from one other side. But, with that route that Nick just brought up and we looked at, be prepared to turn your gun immediately and just shoot this cut should they look to make that move, because they have to know now that there's nothing that they can really do. The only thing you're going to give them is by playing them. You don't play them, now they're just like, well,
yeah,
unless you go sloppy with your pack around these knuckles and the snake, they're not going to know, which is something to be mindful of.
Yeah. So, like, something that you brought up during that is all of the work it's going to take to get to the snake side, and sort of that's why I started with finding the right personnel, whether that's generally your D guy or whatnot, to play the snake side. I think the snake side is going to take a lot of mental discipline and a lot of mental endurance. It's going to be a frustrating side to play because of all of the gaps. So if you have a snake player who wants to run to the snake every game, and they don't really want to play the short game and gunfight and basically, not get into the snake until 2 minutes, 3 minutes into the game, then it might not be the right side for them. So this is going to be definitely one of those snake sides that, if you have a snake player that is willing to occasionally go there off the break, but occasionally do the gunfight 4 different bunkers to get out to that and be okay with that, I think you're going to have a really successful event. I think just based on the back of that player wanting to play it really slow and really cautious and fight a lot of gunfights at the same time, finding that right balance, then this is going to be a great side. So I think in practice, what I would probably start with, if we're going to do a layout practice, is probably have a 2-on-1. It's going to be 2 random spots in the back that can shoot the snake lanes. And then my snake player is going to start in the snake tower, and they're going to fight their way all the way out into the snake one, through all 3 of those gaps. And I'm going to allow these 2 players in the 2-on-1 to alternate which bunkers that they start in at first. And then I'm going to allow them to change bunkers midway through. Like, if the snake player had made the snake corner, you can then adjust in where you want to shoot it after that, and really make it hard for that snake player to get in, because I think whoever the best is at this fight, and the most patient, and then whoever has a guy alive in the snake at the end is going to win a majority of the points, a lion's share of the points. So this personnel and practice from this one player is going to pay off in spades, I think, in this layout.
Take it to the bank, folks. Take it to the bank. We haven't even touched the Doritos. Let's head over there real quick.
All right.
So we got this first tower on. Man, look at that. Might even go to the brick and shoot cross. That is disgusting.
Yeah.
So this just tells me then, with the cross shots on this tower, that realistically, I would probably want my center can player to play the Doritos.
Right.
That if I could come off the box here, and this is your drill, off the box, and you're shooting for that Dorito corner cut. It's going to be 3.5, 4 balls into the Dorito, and the rest you're going to have to choose whether you go high for the corner or low
but you still even have a chance to shoot that around the corner move as well.
That's what I was looking at. And then, you could drop your paint low here for anyone going into the snake. You could shoot low here. I mean, there's a lot to shoot at.
Yeah.
And all this reinforces for me is with how we've looked at that wedge. I would have my can player shoot Doritos. I'd have this guy shoot cross, and we're getting way ahead of myself, and I'd have this guy play heads up. And you just have to know then which zone both towers are going to shoot and be committed.
Yeah, like if this was if pro team versus pro team, most likely the 1 on the D side is going to that big brick. The 2 on the D side is going to this tower that we're looking at. The 3 is playing the can. The 2 on the snake side is playing the snake side tower. And then one of those bunkers is most likely getting doubled. I would say most likely you're either sending a guy out to the Dorito corner, or you're going to double that snake tower, something like that. But just because of the nature of these lanes, you're only really going to have the capability of taking one risk. So these bunkers that Nick just X'd out are probably going to have a player in them most of the time. And then the rest is sort of whatever risk you want to take, whether you want to send a player snake off the break, whether you want to send a player into the Doritos, but these 4 bunkers are most likely going to be hot every single point.
Yeah, and I granted we haven't even got to the end of our complete breakdown because we're missing. No, you're good. I like this. This is like, we haven't even covered this zone, but like in looking at it, I would even send someone to the brick. We haven't got to it yet, but if you were to X this guy out and go to the corner, run and shoot to the corner, at least you'd have a gun up. Because I kind of looked at it a little bit. You have really no shots heads up from this tower.
No.
But if you said you double this can, you've got great lanes on both sides. It shouldn't be hard to come up and underneath from this can into this brick, or then make your move forward to the wedge. And then your second player assesses whether you made it up to the center alive or you made it to the brick alive, and then continues with their job. Yeah, man, I don't. All right, so back to the Dorito side. So
you want to start with the corner?
Let's just get to the corner. Why not? Look at this. I want to play this layout. I'm telling Fran, set this up at Victory Paintball Park. I'm flying to California. I want to play it.
Yeah, rarely on modern layouts do we have a corner to corner battle. I missed that from 7-man days. And so like this is like a classic corner being the anchor of a side. Like this player can keep players from getting wide out into the bricks. It's a gunfighter paradise. You're gonna be fighting your mirror. If that player gets into the Dorito, you're gonna be fighting that guy. Every single spot has the ability to gunfight on the inside. And then if that player does make it to the outside, you have the opportunity to go to the outside and gunfight them there. So, this is going to be a great spot for someone that is a good long distance gunfighter that can then transition into a 1.
Yeah, and if any of you ever have a problem with playing tight in a spot, this would be a great place to practice playing tight.
Yeah.
And because the sketchy thing here is someone gets into that snake 3,
you're dead.
They're going to shoot you in the butt. They're going to shoot you in the pack. So that's just something to realize. You hear snake, it's probably going to be in your best interest to get out of here. Because the inside
will probably be the safest.
Yeah. And the inside shots aren't terrible. You could come here right away, running out here, shooting inside on the break to look and catch that can. And if someone doubles up that can, you can come out here and get dominance on the inside on them.
Yep.
Wow.
And even in our little mock breakout we did, we had 2 players in the can. And even if there's just one shooting the D side, making it out to the corner, putting that player in, and then allowing a player to filter up underneath from the brick or getting yourself up in there. This corner is definitely going to be a great early game bunker, but then becomes pretty bad late game.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not a spot you're going to want to fill to try and save the day should you lose a side. You're going to want to probably go to that brick. But another good point too is if you do realize if you come out here and you hear that the Dorito runner has been eliminated, wrapping this thing in that center can, wrapping on the tower, or just looking to go and get set up in these Doritos, which we're going to start to look at here to prevent any movement out towards your side, is going to be clutch. Because you're not going to be able to stop anyone filling out realistically. You shoot the Dorito one runner, you shoot the corner runner, and they're only in that brick, you might as well give them the corner again in the Dorito, at least the Dorito 2, because you can't see anything from this spot. Not to say that it's your job to shoot that. There's plenty of other spots in the field that can fill those gaps. But if you're just sitting here wrapping, shooting at nothing, you're not, I don't think you're doing much at all either. Unless, of course, there's a bunch of people shooting at you, which I don't really foresee.
Yeah, I think just by the nature of this field, there probably is only going to be a max of 2 guns on this side, a player that's trying to push and a player that's trying to hold. And generally that's the easier side to push. So I would say that this corner is going to have the ability to get into these Doritos pretty much at will in the early parts of the game before players get in the snake and whatnot. But this is probably going to be the first side to take the ground on a high average, whereas the snake side will be able to take a lot of ground if they make it out there. This was going to be that first little jab at the enemy's armor here, and this player is going to have the ability to get sneaky up into these Doritos, fight those gunfights down the wire, and then wrap and shoot those whatever cross shot that the other team decided to shoot at through these gaps.
Agreed. So looking at this first little Dorito, I think this is only like a oh crap moment. Like if you decide to make the move from the can, the corner up, and he wraps on you to dive in here. Otherwise, I think you're kind of just committing to go, because both the snake tower and the center can and this tall wedge could be shooting this cut right here, which we've already looked at. I don't see any strategic value to coming here on the break because your inside shots, even though you do have some sneaky shots into that corner and into the snake insert, again, this isn't a spot you're going to sit here and just dump a ton of paint crossfield to try and hold those guys, because you're not going to be able to. But if you do get stuck here, realize you can definitely drop paint in there, and that snake Dorito would be pretty hard to live in.
Yeah,
if you're putting paint into that from here. So
It's
something to something to note. Even the corner, it'd be really hard to kind of see this guy cross field. Make our way into the Dorito 2. This is where those shots are way better. This could be a snake hold to a point. You could sit here and drop paint in on both the corner and the insert, this Dorito insert bunker, and hold the outside of the move outside to the snake. Still a really long shot, and you're going to have paint in the air to hit those guys. If you're not shooting, they're going to make it. So just something to look at. Say, especially if you want to call off your tall wedge player, if you see them shooting that way, and say, hey, I'm here, I have it, switch heads up, watch my front, and then just sit here and just kind of rip that shot. You can also do a nice little wrap inside, and from here you can see your opponent's wedge, the tower, and that center can. So definitely a lot of shots from here, not a bad spot. But as Nick had said earlier, I mean, gunfighter's paradise here. Looking down the tape, you've got the corner, you've got all the big Doritos in front of you, and then, it probably could be a good little move to wrap inside, check off on that wedge, and then dive across through that cut to get into this first mini wall, which I'm assuming most people will call the Dorito 3.
That's a good point. Is like, what are you calling all of these bunkers over here? That's going to be one of the more confusing parts on this side of the field. So having some good names for this side over here, what would you call these?
I would just use Doritos. One, I'm not drawing in the right thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I think the thing that I'd have to see if it makes any sense is it ever going to be confusing looking cross field with these Doritos to call the wrong one?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. So I don't know. I don't know that I would give them any specific names. Maybe the 5. You could call it something, but to me, they're the ducks are in a row, and it's just about a matter of memorizing that the 1, the 2, and the 4 are Doritos, and the 3 and the 5.
And like as a coach or a team captain, noticing if your team is messing up those calls, which is going to be totally possible, and making sure that you pick the right calls for your team is going to be big over here, because those players have so many little sneaky shots across field, as Nick was showing you, and so many little over the top inside shots that one wrong call over here could get a player killed because they were unaware of how far this player had made it, especially the center guys. So I would probably separate the Doritos as like Dorito 1, 2, 3, and then call these bricks something else, 100, 200, whatever it might be. But that's going to be up to each individual team to decide that amongst themselves.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, there are 3 Doritos, so it shouldn't be hard to say D1, D2, D3, and just know 2 big Doritos are 2 and 3, small Doritos 1. And then if you call, Alpha and Bravo.
Yeah, that's great.
You could call them any corresponding names that would mean first one and second one would probably work. So I do like that as well. And that makes complete sense. It's just you can do what is best suits your program and what you guys have been using, so you can build on the call that you already have, and just, I guess, kind of use common sense to a point. I really do like this spot though. This first one. I mean, to be able to come here and like fortune favors the bold here to come up and just play over the top of this thing and get your, die your shots in. This would be a great little place to drill.
Yep.
Oh man.
But like from start to finish, gunfighter's paradise. This is like where you want to put your 1-ball champion guy who's going to be able to get some good little snapshots throughout all of the Doritos and the Alpha Bravos. Just being able to pick at people, pick at them and pressure them from this side of the field is going to really be annoying. So, and then also getting that player to realize that the longer they're alive over here in the Alpha Bravo area, the longer that the easier your snake player is going to have it, because the Dorito side brick, the other team's Dorito players, center players are all going to have to put a little bit of attention over here just having this player alive.
Agreed. Now we're back to where we started almost in the beginning, to the Bravo or the Dorito 5, essentially the closest bunker to the 50 on this tape. And the question here that we have to really look at is, when do you look to break this gap and make it to your opponent's side? And is it worth it in coming over here and getting in this spot? And I think the only way it's going to be viable is if there's no one in the corner. The Doritos would have to be clear, because to be able to play this spot here, you're going to take pressure from at least the snake 1. Snake 3, you're dead. That would be the snake 3. So you've got the, I'm pointing like you could see what I'm pointing at. You've got this guy here. There's another knuckle here. There's a lay down, and then there's this juice box here.
And so, plus that pin bounce shot. And
then whatever bounce shot could come off this pin from corner. I mean, even the brick, maybe nah.
The brick on the inside, on the snake side wrapping, could shoot it. I know that's dangerous, but anyone from the back center can over to the D side, any player over there that could get paint on that would most likely be able to at least put pressure on you on the inside. So this player is pretty much going to come here and play the outside no matter what, as they should be doing, blocking out the corner and whatnot from the outside, wrapping on that brick and continuing down the field. I think that this option is also going to be here quite a bit, especially if your gunfighting player is winning gunfights down the wire. Pretty much 1 kill on the D side is going to allow the move all the way into the other team side of the field, as long as they get past that hard gap of the second brick into the other team's brick. This gap right here. Yeah. Once this player makes it through this gap, there's a lot of bunker to live behind on the other team side of the field, and you're most likely going to be peeling off backs, or even trading with the brick might be worth it. So this player is basically waiting for the opportunity. And I would say anytime the opportunity presents itself to truly get through this gap safely, they should probably be taking it and taking out multiple players.
Yeah, and the one thing I would think about too, because I got so lethal playing the front, I'm now a back player, is that if I know that my front guy wants to make that move, and we get them to go, where do I need to put myself to try and counter anyone running them down? Because I know if I'm as a back player, if I see someone come to my side like that, I don't want to give them the opportunity to get comfortable or get tight and get those shots. I want to look to take that dude out. And so if we do have players up here in the center and they're looking snake way, and we can communicate, hey, I'm going to make this, I'm going to make the cut, I'm going to make that jump across. If this guy's not looking, the brick, aside from shooting, I mean, the brick can kind of do it.
Especially if they can play high.
Yeah.
They could definitely keep someone from filling out
yes.
onto that free side.
But you're going to want to communicate that for sure. Okay, I'm going to make this move. If you do that all by yourself, and then you get bunkered because no one on your team knew you made the move, especially, and this should all be decided before you even get to the start box. Yeah, hey, the other team gets a major penalty and 2 guys get pulled off from that side, and you fly down there. Cool, but if you're being aggressive and you want to push straight aside and practice, at least let's have a call or have some sort of communication to let you guys know that you want to make that move. Well, we're in this brick now, so let's see what these shots. This is the last bunker we have to look at. I mean, this is saying you're at 5-2. So these shots here on the snake side are huge. I don't know that snake corner player will be able to really not be seen going in. I mean, you'd have to be playing this on your knees, and I don't see any reason why you would. So unless they literally crawled on their stomach around the corner, it'd be tough not to see them. Even that Dorito player, I mean, if they're only in that spot, you're shooting the inside and the outside of it. So they'd have to also go super low. And if you were to do that out of that spot, you're not going to get shot by anyone in front of you, because so many people can see you going around that Dorito down the tape. Over the top of this thing, it's just insane to be able to work those center wedges to block out people and edge.
Yeah, this is an amazing over the top bunker. It's pretty easy to get to off the break, and you can at the very least see all the sides of the field. You would know who was progressing on the opposite side of the field, pretty much wherever they went. So if you do have a player that can play over the top of these and is a heavy gunner, this is a great spot to be, because this player could pretty much control 2 sides of the field if they were playing at like 100%.
100% agree.
Yeah, filling in the snake from here, like I would say that even this player could shoot the outside of their mirror from filling the B side and alternate their gun towards the snake 1 and sort of shoot both at the same time.
Oh yeah, could you imagine just standing here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course you can. Silly me. Yeah, all right, well, there you have it, folks. Your EPL event 1 layout. I was trying to think of a breakout. What you said, I don't, man. All right, I'm gonna do this really quick. Oh. Let's put the bodies where I want them. Here, 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 and there. Nice. So what do I want? You're going to go, you would run and shoot to this right away over the top. You're going to want your tall guy to be identified, to be, well, not a straight line, but looking that way. Tower body is through here. I'm gonna have this guy shoot here, can player here, here with the move I'm looking for, and this would vary multiple ways. I don't know that there's, I think when these 5 positions, there's so many different ways you could look. I'm not saying like you could have the can looking Dorito, you could have this back floater guy looking snake, but these two, and then you could have your brick guy looking snake going in there right away. But the moves that I'm looking to have happen off of this is this guy back here is going to come up and either into the brick and then from the brick up, or based on the body, that whatever happens on this side in this zone, he's going to tell his can guy to switch and then make the move up. And then you would essentially float up here. And I would just be flooding people up the middle.
Nice.
Because once the snake, this back guy fills up to the can, it wouldn't be hard for him to come out to the brick or cut across to the snake side. So I'm just putting all my money on shooting people on the break and then just letting people play paintball. And you're not really risking anyone. If you get shot, I don't know. If you get shot in this breakout, I don't know. It happens. That happens. So I mean, that's, I don't know, pretty basic.
I like it. I think
I feel like I'm not giving anyone much, because you could, there's so much you can do. I don't know. You got anything?
I guess I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna go around the snake corner off the break into the snake. I'm gonna put most of my eggs in that snake basket, so I'm gonna go to the snake tower and shoot the snake corner. Going to go to the center can and shoot the god bunker. Going to go all the way up to the, actually, sorry, I'm going to double the can, shooting D side with the intent on going up to the wedge, controlling the D side. And then I'm going to go to the D corner on the wrap. And ideally, the 2 on the snake side is going to be getting into the god and following the snake player to hold that out.
Got it.
So a bit more of an aggressive breakout, but also very possible and also very time and score dependent. I think that this is going to be a breakout that you see a lot for teams that are wanting to get a quick point.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Also working on planning against something like that if you are on the upper end of the score.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. 2 completely different breakouts, but extremely effective and guarantee you points on the board. But from all of us at BKI, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be doing the EPL layouts all year long, so stay tuned for more of those. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask any of us those through our social media channels. Link in the description below. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but thanks again. I hope you guys all have a great practice on this, and check you guys on the flip side.
Have fun. Awesome. Cool. Appreciate it.